And malls are a huge social factor. And really at a very grassroots level, because there's a lot of folks at CDE level that are going there for air conditioning. I mean, it really boils down to that. David, you're involved with theaters in the same respect. We have senior citizens in Manila that get free movie theaters, and they go there not to watch movies. They go there because they can be in the dark and it's cool. Where are you? And it's free. Where are you right now? You're in Indonesia, and are you seeing some trends in Indonesia? Very aggressive, big, beautiful malls there. What are you seeing?
That's right. I live in Jakarta. The malls I run is in Jakarta. And what Sanchai and Franz has been mentioning, all true, all same issue, same problem. In fact, in Jakarta, it's even more difficult because at least in Thai, they have a strong local content. In Jakarta, we don't. Unfortunately, the government isn't so aggressive as in Thai, whereby they promote the local content. So what you will see in all those nice malls that we have in Jakarta is repetitive. We got H&M, we got Sogo, we got, you mentioned it, we have it, but it's all the same, right? And so we're approaching it in a completely, for us at least, a different and radical way, meaning like you were mentioning, the cinema and the food court, the lifestyle. We need to own it. That's why we own it. Because we need to be in control of that. That's the traffic puller. If it is the supermarket or the fitness that pulls it, then we need to get into that business. But from the research we did is cinema and food court is still number one, traffic puller. That's number one. Number two, we revamped our team. I don't have a mall background. I'm the least experienced among these three gentlemen here. So I used to own a cinema. The owners said, I want something different. So they approached me to come up with a fresh eye from the retailer side. My leasing team, only one is a seasoned leasing person, right? The rest, millennials, coming from right out of college, some from the retailing side. So we want to get their perspective in. We are also attacking it, of course, from the social media, which everybody's probably doing. So aggressive in social media. We use also loyalty, digital loyalty. We need to know who comes to our malls. And that is compounded also by a problem where all these retailers don't want to share data, right? In Singapore, it's compulsory that you use the mall's POS. In Indonesia, we don't have that. And it's like, oh, don't touch my data, what am I going to do with it, So we need to find a way to track how much the spending is. If we spend X amount of dollars to have an event in our mall, do we attract the right crowd? Is spending up at attendance? We need to track that. That's why we invest in a loyalty system, digital loyalty system, whereby we know how much people spend. At least it represent a certain percentage of the sales, right? It's not 100% accurate, but at least we know. So then, of course, the technology, IoTs, video tracking of mall heat maps, it's all necessary.
Thank you.
But it's all experimental, of course. I mean,
We're all guinea pigs. We're all guinea pigs for you guys. That's all. We're on the wheel, and we're waiting for you to throw your next thing out at us so we can either take it or make it work or not. I'm in technology. We do Wi-Fi onboarding and so forth, so we can follow heat maps of people. It's becoming very popular now. This is the latest trend, is knowing where people are going. And I I mean, if anything, it's really about that engagement level. So if you're looking at e-commerce, right? This is a pretty big concept, a pretty challenging concept for shopping malls. It's the thing that you're up against, the Amazons, the Shopley here. Where's Ian from, what was it, Shopee, right? Earlier today. That's your competition. But here's the thing. Your family, as much time as they want to spend online, they love being in an environment, especially if you're looking at Indonesia. It takes some time to get to these places. So when you're there, it needs to be an experience for them. So the food courts, the cinemas, the things that you're not going to get necessarily online becomes a big deal. Do you think, do you see these larger, with these larger malls that you guys are putting in, and I'm going to send this to you, Franz. Actually, both of you gentlemen, from this perspective, do you see technology changing over the next 3 years? What's your outlook? What's your view over the next 3 years as coming into play? I heard stories of the dark store. What are some of your thoughts?
Let me add a little bit more. The traditional shopping mall is that we are on the developer model, which means that we build building and we select the right location. Then we are trying to get the tenants to come in, sign the contract, long-term and short-term. And then, as you said, you know, we have H&M, we have Uniqlo, we have all the brands. Every single mall have the same. The problem is these people is getting, I mean, the number is less, which means that bargaining power is getting more and more. So it means that when they rent your space, then the rent, I mean, that they are going to pay is becoming less and less because they look at themselves as a key tenants. Now, next thing. So when this is happening, the building is getting more expensive, but you are not getting the right rent. And then when you are renting the area out, it makes you very inflexible, which means that the kinds of merchandising and shops and things that you have might be okay today, but it might not be okay tomorrow, especially when you have the leasing team. So the leasing team that go out lease the area, normally will just finding anything just to fill the space. They don't care. Whether the shop that are coming in the mix and all that is actually meeting the requirement of the customer or not. And when you are renting this out, it's very hard to change. So it means that when you find out that some of the tenant might not be good enough, then it is very hard, you know, to terminate the contract and all that. Because of this, you know, as you said, the developer has to change the model. So of course, you know, they are renting and releasing the area. The second one is that they might have to go into another thing, they call it revenue sharing model, which means that you are charging the minimum fees and you share, I mean, the margin out of them. So in this case, you know, there are upside, which means if you are doing good and the tenant is doing good, you're also getting more revenue as well. The next thing is that you might have to go to the retail business yourself, especially in F&B and maybe in some sort of entertainment, and that is an upside. Because that will allow you to have a higher bargaining power against, I mean, all the tenants that you are putting in. Now, that is the thing that we have to do. So a developer, and overnight become a retailer, that is not an easy thing, you know, because it's totally different animals, right? Next thing, when it comes to technology, so many things that are coming to us, and it's very costly. Number one, we can put Wi-Fi, we can put location-based system, we can put beacon system, we can put geomagnetic system, we can put CRM, we can put the data infrastructure, analytics and all that. Somebody has to pay for it. Now, if you are getting the rent, and if you are the developer, there's no way that you can do that. So first, you must go to revenue sharing model, and maybe you must have your own business store. Then in that case, you may have 0.5% in order to pay for loyalty points, right? Now, for those who are sharing the revenue with you, they might have to pay half with you. And then as the base of the customer and the member is getting more, then that will be value that you are going to get the rest of the tenant to join. That is not an easy thing, but it's a thing that I think all the retailers have to think about, and have to change the mindset and also the paradigm thinking.
That was good. This is important stuff that we don't get a chance really to hear much of them. Just those insights, and I'd like to hear it as well from the other two gentlemen, but I think you just said a lot. It's not just about putting a cookie cutter mold together. In fact, that's the fail point, as you pointed out earlier, David. It's really about kind of feeling what works, maybe a builder, maybe turning into a retailer. Revenue sharing becomes sharing that, taking less profit, but to be able to spread that risk around a little bit, because this technology costs money. And if you're going to make that convergence and create that hybrid model, you have to spend money. Our stuff's not that expensive. We'll talk later. Franz, will you?
Yeah, the issue really is how much technology do you want to put, and how much, sometimes too much technology is an overkill. Because even if you have all this data, and the gentleman before this presentation say, okay, you still have artificial intelligence. You know, we're open 365 days a year, 12 hours a day. So we have to analyze this thing pretty damn quick to know what's going on, because things change so fast. So we need to find out technology that's going to be sustainable and that's going to give us real information that we'll be able to use. And not it's going to be changed. And when you look at the iPhone, the new telephone, the iPhone 10, it has face recognition. 5 years ago, iPhone 6 had finger recognition. So the things are moving so fast that it's obviously going to influence us as well in terms of mall operators. And it's difficult to pick and choose, really, in terms of what brings us real value, because that's a real question.
But I see places like Indonesia, Thailand, and a lot of Westerners come into Asia or think of Asia externally. I was talking to my colleague, she's spent a lot of time in Italy. And Europe looks at the East as like lagging, but the reality is we're ahead of everybody here. We take more risks, we are quicker to jump on technology, we're quicker to try it out, and we're, quite honestly, we're faster to understand it over here. This is a smart area.
I think also because the gender, I mean, if you look at the Chinese population, I mean, they jumpstart basically. I mean, everybody is on WeChat, on Weibo, whatever. So that whole population has shifted, and they haven't gone through what we've gone through. So they're already 10 times ahead of us. So it's influencing the whole Asia-Pacific region in terms of how people connect. And so that's not happening in the States or in Europe as much as what's happening here. So yes, you're right. We're basically at the forefront.
That's a good point. They're doing things in Indonesia. David, have you seen this? Heard of this thing called dark social? Have you heard of this? So what it is guys like my age that don't know how to deal with technology so well, so we take a cut and paste and we put it on WhatsApp or something like that, and it really is clunky, and it's not really showing up in the social realm of things, because I'm not going to post it on Facebook. But it's called dark social, and now there's companies in Indonesia that are listening to that inside of malls, so if someone says, I'm going to head and get some chicken, some keywords show up, and all of a sudden they get something sent to them by KFC. So this dark social, you guys are doing some pretty cool things in Indonesia right now. What do you see as the next few years coming around?
Well, it's a nice description to say cool, but I think there's a lot of pretty dark things going on there in Jakarta, because the regulations are unclear. So we have to be very careful what we can do and not do, because it links to our image. If we start doing things that are too dark, people will get the wrong perception of the mall. So for now, we're still keeping it to the regular stuff. We buy Google surfaces. We crack them. We got a digital team following it.
Right.
We invite, for instance, pop-ups that are very strong in Instagram and Facebook, and say, how would you like to display your stuff in our mall? And we won't make money out of them, but we get the traffic. you know, and they got the exposure to the public to show their products. Things like that. We're experimenting with that short term and a bit medium term, something like 3 months, and see whether they can sustain the traffic. So, yeah, tell you the truth, we're still experimenting, highly experimenting with things, but I think we need to do that because the conventional mall, the conventional way is dead. You know, big boxes are dead. So,
no, I think these are all learnings as well. This is an iterative process. And you're right, where is the line between cool and creepy?
Yeah.
Right? So you have to really determine that and make that culturally in your own country and your own environment with your own reputation. And just because, I always say this, just because you can do something with technology doesn't always mean you should. And I think that's probably an important piece. How are we on time? We're hearing crickets over there. How are we doing with time? 5 minutes or 15? 5 minutes. All right, so I'm going to get some takeaways from these guys. What do you think? So if you had to, and I'm going to start with you again, David. What's your takeaway for this audience as far as, and I like the simplicity message that you've been giving so far, but what's your main takeaway that you think you would give us?
It depends. For mall owners, probably, I would probably say, hold on, building your malls. But in a more general way, it's about experience. Apartments, houses are getting smaller. Malls are becoming the family room, living room. So you have to curate your mall such a way that it becomes a socially pleasant place to stay or to go to. You need to have constant changes. Otherwise, people get bored. They come for 6 months, and then after that, they say, "I'm bored. Let's move on to the next mall." So keep your tenants small and flexible, but yet the impact to the experience is big. And as a mall operator, you have to make sure that the experience for the customer that's walked in is maintained. Your toilets, your customer service, your concierge, your digital presence, whether that's online or offline, like the billboards, things like that. So,
I mean, obviously with the size of the malls that are out there now, having the technology for people to even find their cars might be something,
exactly.
moving down the road. What do you think, Franz? What would you give as a takeaway, either as a mall owner, builder, or as maybe just a person? What our experience should you want us to feel?
I think you got to be different. You got to offer something different. You got to think of giving back to the community. Our latest mall, we have a garden on the fifth floor that costs us quite a lot of money, and it's just a garden. So giving back to the community is important. Be respectful of your environment. Be different, be bold. We have a great opportunity because we have lots of space. So we can try things, which is fantastic. So as you were saying, we can do pop-up shops, we can do all kinds of things that are interesting to make the customer renew itself and discover new things. So definitely, I would say, think out of the box. Absolutely think out of the box.
Right. And I started with you in this meeting, and I'd like to end with you and get your final thoughts.
Okay. I think as the mall owner, there's no way that we can get around. At the end of the day, we have to be omni-channels, which means that we, as the owner of the mall, cannot just wait for people just to walk in, no matter how attractive the events and all that we are putting in. But at the end of the day, think about it. If you have a mall in Bangkok, and then Bangkok is only one city, so you have about 70 million people sitting out there in the upcountry area. So they have two options. First, they go to the local mall. Second, they buy online. They might want to buy from you, but there's no way they will come to you. So at the end of the day, you have to come up with a business model that will pool, all the merchandising of your own, and maybe from the tenants that you are running on the revenue sharing basis and all that, to put it online. and make it available to the customer to sell. So the boundary is not there anymore. So you can see in China, we have Suning, which is, selling whatever it is, that have plug. So they have more than 1,000 stores. So at the end of the day, they have to merge and join with Alibaba. So you can also see that Amazon is now buying Whole Food Market and use the economy of scale in online to reduce the price of, let's say, Whole Food Market by 20%. They also have Amazon Prime collecting location in everywhere. So in this case, as a mall owner, you cannot let the online merchant just to invade into your territory. So you have to also do something to get yourself into the, omni-channel online spaces as well. So the business model is challenging. But I think if you are smart enough, and if you are tech savvy enough, then you will be able to get around.
Okay, with that, I think these gentlemen deserve a round of applause, and I hope you enjoyed today's. Very good, thank you very much. We are finished at this point, yes?
Yes.
Wrap things up.
So thank you very much all gentlemen ปรบมือให้กับทั้ง4ท่านอีกครั้งหนึ่งด้วยนะคะ Thank you so much for your kind support and shared experience for the night session. Well, everyone, we come to the last session for today. Today is day one for Internet Retailing.